Lauren, amazing job on Chicago Party, and I absolutely love the show, and you are perfect in the role, in the best of ways, obviously, in the best of ways. First question I have for you, though, is how familiar were you with Chris's Chicago Party parody Twitter account?
Okay, you're going to love this story. So that account started in very early days. It followed me on Twitter. And I, of course, read some of the tweets and I was like, this is hysterical. Now, I lived in Chicago for a few years when I was doing the Second City main stage there. And so I was like, okay, clearly this is somebody I know. Right. So I started writing a DM saying, okay, unmask yourself. Who are you? And I deleted it because I loved the tweet so much that I went, don't ruin the magic for yourself. Try and pretend like it's a real lady. Right. So no joke, I didn't find out until my dear friend John Barinholtz revealed that he was working on this show, Chicago Party Ant, inspired by Chris Wataski's Twitter feed with Katie Rich. And I died laughing. I screamed because of course I know all of them from my time in Chicago. And it was just like the best reveal that, after all this time of me, like an adult, like I was tricking myself into believing Santa was real. You know what I mean? It was just like, I just wanted to, I just felt like he captured her voice so well that I was like, I'm going to pretend she's a real lady. And now she kind of is.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Now she is a real lady. That's amazing. Yeah. Now, for as wild and raunchy as Diane is, she has a really good heart at her core. What were some of the qualities that you wanted to bring to Diane that wasn't necessarily on the page?
I think the big thing, and there was, they did a really great job of writing all of these characters. I got to tell you, like being able to balance the super funny, the stuff that really made me clutch my pearls a little bit, like the comedy that kind of pushes the envelope with the heart that's in this show is not easy. Being able to tonally shift and have both feel earned and real and organic, I think is amazing. But I will say, I think for me, it was like really exploring those acting moments and the opportunities that were written for me where we did get to see Diane perhaps be a little bit more emotional or have kind of those moments of introspection. I really kind of pushed it. And it was so lovely because everyone was so open to seeing how I was going to play those moments. And, I'm always kind of the mindset that I'm like, yeah, just try something. Like, what's the worst? Like, they're probably going to either tell you no, do something else, or it might work. And that this was like a great exercise in that. And especially in the more kind of poignant moments it was really, trying to infuse it with some real acting, which was great. And I was very lucky that they were so receptive to some of my, stronger choices.
I mean, and a lot of those moments come with your nephew in the show, Daniel, who's amazing, by the way. I love that relationship. He's taking a gap year and spending time with his Aunt Diane, his professor now, I guess you will. Diane, yes. Can you talk to me about their relationship throughout the course of the series?
What I think is amazing is Diane and Daniel are, probably the quintessential odd couple. We have a lady who is of a certain age, who's hard partying, life of the party, does not care what anyone thinks of her. And then we have her 18-year-old gay nephew who is very unsure of himself, self-conscious, so sweet and lovely, but also shy and just unsure of how to fit in the world. And I think we meet them at a very interesting time because although Diane is all of those things, I think she has some similarities to Daniel. And over the course of the season, I love getting to see their friendship grow and that they're kind of learning from one another. And as much as Daniel kind of needs to learn, how to not really care what other people think of him, which Diane is the best teacher at that. I think Diane also goes on a little bit of a journey into realizing who she is and what her place is in the world a little bit better. And, the relationship between the two of them, I think, is just so lovely and beautiful. And I keep saying, I think people are going to come to this show for the comedy, but I think they're going to stay for the heart. And that relationship is really kind of like the pinnacle of that.
Yeah, honestly, that was one of my biggest takeaways watching the show. I was like, look, this show's hilarious, but you're completely right. It's so well balanced in terms of the characters that are created and the heart of the show. And speaking of the characters that are created, I want to talk about Gideon for a second, who brings his new burrow, who converted into the sport cut and clips place into the new burrow. Can you talk to me about that character, Gideon, and RuPaul? Because amazing at this show and on the show.
Oh my gosh, I know. So yes, Gideon, of course, is Diane's brand new boss from New York, which she has some, fairly strong opinions about. But voiced by RuPaul, who is so amazing on this show. I can't even stand it. I love the relationship between those two as well. The kind of adversaries that, of course, over time, maybe we see them trying to find common ground and sometimes maybe succeeding a little, often failing at finding the common ground. But it is such a joy to get to play off of that performance. I mean, all of the performances on this show are so spectacular. It really is unbelievable. And him as that character, it's so funny because I know obviously RuPaul and it sounds like RuPaul, but now when I hear RuPaul's voice anywhere, I just think of Gideon. Like it's like I close my eyes and I see the cartoon of Gideon. I love the relationship between the two of them so much. And I think people are really going to love him kind of being that foil to Diane's character on the show.
It is so much fun to watch those two together. Now, stay positive, but test negative. If life gives you lemons, turn that shit into Mike's Hard Lemonade. What are some of your favorite Diane quotes?
Oh, I mean, those are pretty up there. It's so hard to remember because A, there's so many, and B, there's, they all start to blur. I'm like, what did we record last? What did we record recently? But there's so many things, of course. Everything that she says and does is hilarious to me. I think for me, it's like, there's a moment early on where, and this isn't necessarily a quote, but this to me like sums her up. She goes to visit Bonnie, her sister, to talk to her about something. And Daniel, of course, Bonnie's son / Diane's nephew, is at the door, and she has a cigarette, and then she hands it to Daniel and goes, finish this off for me, sweetie. And she goes in the house. And that to me is like such a, you learn so much about Diane in that moment. And that's to me what's so brilliant about how that moment it plays, because you've learned that it's like, this is a woman who has a heart of gold, has the best intentions, but just misses the mark. Just often it's just kind of, like she wants the best for people. She is loyal to the point that she would step into a bus for her, her family members, especially, her nephew. But often she's just a little off, Now, the execution isn't always there.
Absolutely. Now, the next question I have for you is, look, this show obviously takes place in Chicago. Which famous Chicagoan would you like to see on the show that isn't on the show already?
This is so tough because there's so many that I'm like, I mean, am I spoiling something? You know what I mean?
Sure.
I feel also like, there's so many Chicago Second City people, for me, being someone who came up through the Second City world, like that is kind of like the pinnacle. The Chicago Second City is like what it's all about. So, I mean, I know that perhaps this person is not from Chicago, but I think we could maybe claim them to Chicago, maybe like Oprah Winfrey. I feel it would be a great option. I would love to see, Diane's, how would Diane react to Oprah? Does she think Oprah's amazing? Or does she think Oprah's like kind of overrated? I mean, I think it could be a hilarious episode to get to see her being like, she's not so great. And then of course, over the episode, she learns that it's like, she is great. I can't fight it. I don't want her to be so amazing. Everything she touches literally turns to gold.
We got to make this happen now.
Right?
We have to make it happen.
Come on.
So good.
Come on.
Look, Lauren, you are amazing in this role. I love the show. And like I said, you bring a ton of heart to the character as well. So thank you so much for your time. I honestly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. Thank you.